Ben, let's jump out of the zone phone. Joining us now, he's the co-host of JJ and Alex every afternoon here on the KSL Sports Zone, the one and only Alex Kirry. What's going on, Alex?
Hey, fellas. How are you?
We're doing terrific. Excited for the tournament like everybody. You saw BYU drew Duquesne. What do you think about this season so far, even before we get to the NCAA Tournament for BYU, including, how the Big 12 tournament wrapped up?
Well, I mean, obviously a little bit of disappointment when you get beat up pretty bad in that semifinal game, but at that point you were, well, I don't know since when in the season you would say it's kind of all gravy from here. I mean, at some point they were a lock in the tournament and they stayed that way. And, now people are going, oh man, I mean, I'd hate to not see them get to the Sweet 16. They got a pretty good path. You're like, what are we talking about here? Like, this is such a change of attitude, and it's been amazing. Mark Pope is overperformed. Everybody on that team overperformed, or at least performed to what people thought they were going to be capable of. And it's a relatively young group. I mean, obviously Jackson Robinson is going to be moving on, and that's, you're one of your star dudes coming off the bench. But other than that, I mean, it's just been a phenomenal year. I mean, Aggies and Cougars both just been phenomenal. It's been fun to watch. They're really, really good teams, and they do things really, really well. And in BYU's case, obviously they could string together a couple games of making 10-plus threes, and when they do that, they win almost every time.
Alex, have you filled out and submitted your bracket for our bracket mayhem up at KSLSports.com?
I'm trying to give everybody a little bit of a shot, because since I won the thing last year, I mean, no big deal. I don't remember that stuff. Like, I kind of forgot about it. Somebody else had to remind me. But yeah, I've got the bracket going, and I actually let my 15-year-old out of my I can't remember what the full Final Four was, but I picked Marquette as a champion. I don't know where that is. I don't know anybody else who picked Marquette, but I had UConn going to the Final Four last year. That was the only reason I did well.
All right, I was trying to brag that I'd got mine in before Alex, but I guess that's not the case because I've been mocked for not getting mine submitted.
Why? Why do we need to get it in? Why do we have to try to, like, the homework's due tonight?
Oh, because
you know what I mean?
nobody has faith in me, and really for good reason. But how far do you have the Cougs eventually going? And same question about Utah State.
I think of those two teams, I mean, between BYU and Utah, I think BYU has a little bit of a better shot because of winning two games. That's the max, I think. I think that's probably the cap on that ceiling. I mean, obviously crazy things can happen. The tournament gets weird. But that's the best BYU can do. The reality is they'll probably beat Duquesne, and then Illinois, if they end up being in that second round matchup with them, is going to be really, really tough. You win the Big Ten championship. They're big, they're skilled, and they have all the things that BYU kind of has the kryptonite to. So Utah State, same thing. I think they win, and then I think they lose in that second round. I hope they both get wins. And I think in Utah State's case, you can obviously pray for a miracle. Purdue's coming off of getting upset last year, right? Didn't they lose to who beat them? They were 16, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it was ODU, right? Was it Old Dominion? Something like that. FDU. So FDU beats them last year, second 16 to lose. And I think we all know what the history is. If you lose a 16 as a 16, or you beat the one seed as a 16, that one seed 100% of the time has gone on to win the national championship the next year. So that's the stat I'm going with today, because Tony Bennett and the Cavs did it the one other time it happened.
One of the nice things about what's going on with college basketball locally is we haven't talked a lot about college football and spring football, which I think is a good sign. It means the basketball is so good that we're not looking at what's going on in spring, which ultimately doesn't have a ton of value. But sounds like, according to Kalani Sitake, that BYU's offense has been a little ahead of the defense so far. Is that a good sign, considering some of the issues for BYU last year?
I like Kalani's attitude in spring. He will be sufficiently positive and then critical too. Like, he said that about I think that the offense is a little bit ahead of the defense, but then he also was like, our offense is not where it needs to be right now. So that's concerning, but that might just be coaches talking to their players through, hearing that kind of stuff, or telling us that they're just trying to work their butts off in the spring. Who knows, Ben? I mean, we thought we knew what this offensive line was going to be last year, just because it's been tough. And I think TJ Woods is a really, really good coach, and he's exactly what they needed on the O-line. So the run game has been talked about a ton. And I don't know if A-Rod loves talking about the run game every day, but they're talking about it basically every day. And nothing matters until they figure out how to get, just north of that 4 yards of carry number, I think, or, just around there at least. So they were nowhere near it most of the year last year, and it was a disaster for them. I have no clue, because that running back room is still a mystery to me. Is LJ Martin just going to be, the workhorse? I really love Hinckley Ropati out of the backfield. I think he catches the ball a ton, and he's like the type of a physical body that would work in the Big 12 in terms of like just fitting in with the crazy size and being super strong. But in that aspect, I don't know. They don't have a quarterback, and that's no disrespect to those two guys, but they're not. Gary Bohannon and Jake Retzlaff are not exactly the guys you want to write home about yet. And until we see otherwise, then you're kind of in a bad spot. I don't care how good you say the offensive groups are doing. You don't really have a quarterback right now, and that's really concerning.
All right, I'm trying to make this analogy work for BYU football, so bear with me.
I'll play along, yeah.
So at the Jazz games, they've closed off a hallway down from in between the media room and the home locker room. This hallway is now closed, so we can't walk on it. And it just so happens that is where the elevator is.
Spit it out.
That's where the elevator is that goes from the bottom floor of the arena all the way up to where we are on the upper concourse, which is the 5th floor, and it's actually 6. And it's the worst. It's the worst part of my night every game that I have to walk from the bottom floor.
Yeah, I know
to
where
6.
you're going.
And really, each floor has a different feeling. I almost die by the time I get to 5, but 4 is Anyway, my point is, if the bottom floor is losing every game in football impact in Big 12 play, and the 5th floor is winning the league, where is BYU football?
Oh, that's a good one. I'm going to say catching their breath just after they got done with that third set of stairs.
Okay.
So,
I've been there. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Right. I've definitely been there where you're like, and you're like, please don't, just somebody don't walk by right now. This is so embarrassing. And I still have 2 or 3 sets of stairs left. Yeah, it's somewhere of not realizing, you start that climb and you start going, this will be fine. I'm doing well. I've been on the rowing machine. I know what's going on. And then it turns into, by the time you get there, you go, I was not prepared. I told myself I was, and I wasn't. And so that was that's the analogy I'm going to give. So catching their breath somewhere in the middle. They're nowhere near where they need to be, but they're also not impossibly terrible, and they have a lot of potential. You got a lot of potential when you're coming up those stairs, Jake. So
I tell you, it doesn't feel like it. Not at all. Especially that moment you're talking about.
I know. Well, Ben probably flies by us, right? If he's going up those stairs, it's like the worst part was when the elevators would be shut down, and you're right, you had to make that hike, and you were maybe cutting it close for your show, and then you're like, okay, hey, welcome to the program.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like the
all
freaking
breathy.
worst, and everybody goes, I know where this guy was. He can't freaking get his fat butt up the stairs. But yeah, that's BYU football trying to get their fat butt up the stairs.
Yeah, nobody feels bad for you either, which is just maddening. They're like, you
No.
can't make it all the way up there. It's like, you don't realize it's a huge arena.
It's a lot of stairs.
It's a lot of stairs.
It's not the same. It's not the same as regular stairs. You don't get it. Yeah.
Alex, thank you. We appreciate you and all your work. We'll be listening this afternoon.
All right, fellas, fill out your bracket, Jake. Jeez.
I got it done, buddy. I'm in. I'm ready to go. Thanks, Alex.
Thanks, Alex.
Alex Kirry, JJ and Alex. I hate those stairs, dude.
It's a lot of back and forth too. So you can't build momentum. One of the things about stairs, a long stairway, you build a little momentum, a little rhythm. You have to keep turning because it's like 8 steps and turn, 8 steps and turn.
And I've taken the strategy of the 2 steps at once. Like, okay, this has got to make it better. It doesn't.
You're going to be in great shape though by the end of the season. You got 14 more games.
I don't want to be in great shape.
You're going to be awesome.
I don't want to be forced to be in great shape. I just didn't eat the free meal last game because I didn't want to do those stairs. How terrible is that?
Would you go to J-Dog?
I got a J-Dog because it was like, you know what? I'm not doing it today.
It's 30 steps away. It's really close.
It's right outside of our door. It's so easy and so delicious. It's like, yeah, J-Dogs. Doing it. I miss Hires in the building.
Yeah, that was a thing.
Oh, so good.
That was a thing.
Now, don't get me wrong. The food there is still great, but I got a soft spot in my heart for the good folks at Hires. All right. Stay tuned. We'll wrap up the Jake and Ben show coming up right around the corner. Want to remind you about our friends at Utah Community Credit Union. The Learn and Earn, the app paying your family to learn about money. UCCU, love where you bank. More next. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.